Hello, my friends. This is Diane, and I'm here with another junk journal. The previous one was a Renaissance theme. This one is very similar, but it has more medieval uh, images. But there's, medieval and Renaissance are very, very similar. And I made this with a smaller book. It's about 5 inches across, and I think it's 7 3/4 inches high. Let me show you this beautiful cover. It's from 1907, and it was called Marietta, a Maid of Venice. And I just thought, I just thought medieval when I saw this design. And I maintained the original cover or spine, but then I didn't like the way the stitches looked on it. So I covered it anyway with this gold metallic beautiful trim. And then I added this piece from a necklace, a vintage necklace, that I got in a bag of jewelry pieces and beads and things from a flea market. And I just left the back plain. The spine is only about, I forgot now, 1 1/4 inches. Yeah, a little bit more than that. Close to 1 1/2. So it's a little bit more gaping than I normally do, but not too bad. And I tied it with a piece of sari silk that's an ombre look. I added this fringe to the bottom of it with these little bead dangles on it. There are 3 signatures. I put some of my Florentine paper on the end papers in the beautiful green, since the cover is green. And I added this fabric on the spine on the inside. Put a book plate there that you can write your name on. This is a piece of an old scrapbook pattern cardstock, and I cut this phrase out of a book, Medieval World. A lot of the images that are in this book came from the book where I got this from. I don't remember what the name of the book was, but there's lots of medieval images in it. I used Lorna Taylor's Time of Illumination set 1 digital set. She has 3 sets of Time of Illumination, and you get a lot of pages in each set. So I used some of the pages in the Renaissance book, and I used some of them in this book. Plus I made ephemera with some of the pages. So, and I still have a couple pages left. So there were a lot of pages there. I never remember to go back and look at the listing to see how many pages there actually were. But I will link it below. And I also used some Mrs. Coggs images. This is just a piece of trim that I put on as a pocket. So I made an envelope out of a scrap of the Florentine paper and just cut a piece of card to put in there, quite sturdy card. And I fussy cut this knight. He is holding his glove, his gauntlet, in his hand. I don't know why. It's kind of weird, but I don't know what that symbolized. But I like that image, and I thought it made a really cute little way to embellish that card. There's a playing card in there, and this image cut from another book. Look at his hands. I had several books in my collection of costume through the ages, so I had taken out all the medieval and Renaissance ones and put them with my materials. So I made a lot of embellishments with those images. I did some stenciling there, and here is one of Lorna's beautiful, beautiful, it's like an illuminated manuscript set, but it's called Time of Illumination. I added this pretty lace on the edge of that page, did some more stenciling, and there's another image cut from, this was a children's book about the medieval period. This is from this book. And it was a big book, so I had to really cut down a lot. But there's the knight's helmet right there, and a piece of lace and a bead dangle. This came out of another book. There's coffee dyed paper, some stamping. Here's one of the books about costume. you know, the fashions that people wore through the centuries. And this one was from the medieval period, and these are the headgear pieces, which I find fascinating. And some more on this side. It says medieval crowns. Look at this one. Cornet headdress, gold tissue and pearls, Flemish, 15th century. Here's another beautiful illuminated manuscript page. Stenciled here, I did some stamping in the corners and added this border piece from the book, the medieval book, and it looks like an old piece of wood with really old nails in it, piece of hardware there. I thought it made an interesting border there. I made this pocket out of a double-sided paper that's kind of like a handmade paper. Came from Joann's, and there's a brad there. This came from one of my books. Some lace at the top, and I put some graph paper on the back. There's some copy dyed scrapbook paper and copy paper in here. Here's an image I fussy cut from one of the books, and I glued it to acetate and then put the acetate on as a pocket. These were cut from one of my books, and they both have paper on the back that you can write on. I love the colors of these papers. This is a fabric that someone had sent me quite a long time ago. It's just got little shields all over it, so that was perfect for this. And I added a piece of trim from, I guess I'm a little too close, from Switzerland. This was a page that pictured a castle, and there's text over here, and I just added ledger paper that you can write on. And there's the center of the signature with a medieval castle. This is one of the Mrs. Coggs images, and so is this. Just put some lace on the edge of the page and sewed that on it. I made a little tuck spot here with a scrap of this paper. There is a knight. This looks like a woodcut. So there's a horse here, and on the other side of it you'll see the knight. There's a little scrap of that paper, and there's some knights from a dictionary that are tilting. And another playing card. And these two are both images from my books. And on this side, I made some pockets with my Florentine paper and put this pretty trim in between them. And I made these tags to go in the pockets. They're white shipping tags. I used Lorna's papers for the background, and then cut some images out of my books to glue onto the front. And I think they make really pretty tags, and it was very simple to do. Some more of the crowns and headdresses. This is Joan of Arc's coat of arms. These images were in one of my books, and this is just a card. I think someone sent that to me. It's a detail of a painting, and it depicts Edward V, 1483. And this is a Mrs. Coggs image. It's so pretty. This is a little image from one of my books. It looks like a stained glass picture with a knight kneeling in prayer, and there's his shield with a lion on it. There's the knight from that paper that looks like a woodcut. The second signature starts out with this pocket that I made in a video that was part of the lead up to the Renaissance journal flip through. So I made several of these embellishments and put them in both the Renaissance and the medieval book. So you can go back and check out the ephemera making videos on that if you're interested. But I took a Mrs. Coggs image and put it on some gold cardstock and put this beautiful veil of embroidered lace over it, and added this antique lace and this little gold die cut. And these corners are die cuts also. And then tucked inside, I put it on as a pocket. There's another Mrs. Coggs image with some crocheted, this is hand crocheted trim. And another of Lorna's pages. This is from a children's book. I had quite a few images from this book in here. It's a kid's book about the medieval time period. We already saw some of the images from this book, but this is some examples of the headgear of medieval aged women. Very interesting. I think this one is hilarious. Her hair is coiled into those ear flap things that stick out. But I mean, this one has horns sticking off the side of her head. They're just very strange. This was a close-up photograph of someone's costume. There's a beautifully embroidered blue top and this scarlet belt with a gold buckle. And I put another piece of trim on as a tab and another bead dangle. There's a beautifully carved box here. Some more medieval costumes. Lorna's paper. It's good to be queen, it says. This is a Mrs. Coggs image. It's on two die cut pieces that I cut with my Big Shot. Scrapbook paper and Lorna's paper, and then a Mrs. Coggs image, and then this vintage piece of jewelry. And this is a Mrs. Coggs image, and this was cut from a book. Love the bright colors in that. Another image I fussy cut from the book and glued to acetate and then glued on as a page. It's got coffee dyed paper with the doily effect on it. And here is a tag I made out of that double-sided handmade paper from Joann's. There is an image on the back from Mrs. Coggs, but that faces that way because I thought that this looked better with this. I didn't want to complicate things by having two images on top of each other like that. So I just put this pattern paper where you can see it, and I think it looks nice that way. Love this. It almost looks Arabic in style. Here's a card with a detail of, I think it's a tapestry. I've seen this before, and I'm pretty sure it's from a tapestry. Just a piece of fabric here with some gold fringe as a flip, and then some assorted papers that I glued down there that you can write on, and added that little image of a knight. And there is a statue of a knight. I put some coffee dyed paper there because it was looking like it wanted to crack. This was the one of the front pages of the book, maybe the title page, I don't know, but it had this character drawn here, and then there was writing, and there was writing here. So I covered it with a piece of that blue and scarlet costume that we saw a page of earlier. This came from a book. This is the other side of that card. I covered up the writing that was on the back with a Mrs. Coggs image. There's another little pocket and another children's dictionary, and it's a medievally dressed lady, but she's wearing a tippet, a scarf for the neck and shoulders with ends hanging down in front. Or it's a long, narrow, hanging part of a hood, sleeve, or scarf. There's an image from one of the books and a playing card. This image came from the kids' book, perfect for a tuck spot, and a Mrs. Coggs image tucked in there. And this was fussy cut from one of my books. There's a pocket. I cut this out of one of my books, and this is a Mrs. Coggs image. Love that. Looks like she's sewing a flag. I like the stenciling on this page. Kind of looks like roses climbing a trellis. There's a stamp of a knight on a horse. And I fussy cut this image of a king on the hunt. There are the dogs and the deer or the hart that they are chasing. So I fussy cut all around that and glued it to this scrapbook paper, and then I tucked this image from Mrs. Coggs in there. And the third signature has, again, the die cuts, and I added a metal piece to that and a tag. A little fussy cut from one of the books. There's the third tab and a bead dangle. There's a scrap of Lorna's paper. Some more medieval costumes. And another scrap of Lorna's paper with a border that I cut from my book. I just love the way that looks. Instead of using two different stencils, I used the same stencil twice, using different colors each time, and I really like the way that turned out. And here's the tuck spot that I made using a mica chip, and there's a video about this. I put it on with eyelets. That's a Mrs. Coggs image. And this is from a book and a Mrs. Coggs image. There's another knight that I cut from my book. Put it on acetate, and I added this tag that I just made from scrapbook paper. Looks like he's standing in front of a tapestry. More beautiful colors on Lorna's paper. I think I stenciled upside down. Or maybe put the paper in the opposite way that I wanted, but it's fine. The only reason it looks upside down is because there are letters. There's Latin letters there, or German letters there. There's another piece of that shield fabric, and there's a medieval castle behind it. I love this picture. That's fun. Piece of washi tape up there. And another little pocket. I made all those pockets with a strip of that one paper. I added a piece of Lorna's paper there, and then these little cutouts are from one of my books, and they are medieval buckles. So I cut them out and glued them on. I like the way they look there. There's an image from a book and a playing card of Lancelot. More Florentine paper pockets with more tags in them. Again, Lorna's paper makes wonderful backdrops for these images, as well as wonderful pages for the journal. There's another scrap of Lorna's paper with a border and an image that I cut from the book. I hope that you will enjoy looking at all of these little drawn images on these pages. Whoever buys this book. There's a Knights Templar shield. That's a famous tapestry of a battle. There's some art there. And Mrs. Cog's image and another tag, or playing card. Image from the book, one of the books, and another image from a book, backed with graph paper and added some crochet, hand crochet. I put this beautiful image from Mrs. Cog's on the back pocket, or on the back cover, I mean, and added this masterpiece card with St. George killing the dragon painting. And my signature is on there. And then I added this, which I got from my big book about the medieval time. And it's the Code of Chivalry from the Decalogue by Leon Gautier. Thou shalt not recoil before thine enemy. I didn't even read this. Thou shalt love the country in which thou wast born. Thou shalt perform scrupulously thy feudal duties, if they be not contrary to the laws of God. So I thought I had to include that. I did not back it with anything because it had a nice image on the back. So that goes in there. So this will be listed in my shop when you see this video, and it's called Marietta. So I hope that you'll go on over to my shop and check it out if you're interested. And also go to Lorna's shop. I will link the kit that I used below, but you can find her shop if you follow the link to that kit. And she has lots and lots and lots of kits. If you don't like the medieval or Renaissance look, she has plenty to choose from, and you get more than your money's worth when you purchase something from her shop. She's very generous with her kits. And also I will link Mrs. Cog, and I'm not linking a specific kit because I use 4 different sets of hers, but she also has many, 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 many offerings in her shop of digital images, and also classes that you can take. So thanks for watching, and I will see you soon with another project. I don't know what it is yet. Well, yeah, I kind of do know what it is, but I'll tell you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.